Right, this video explores how you construct the basic parts of your yo-yo. The yo-yo you're looking at now is made up of 3 pieces of acrylic on each side. Now, each piece of acrylic is approximately 3 millimeters thick. So you're looking at a finished yo-yo that has an approximate 9 mil thickness on each side. Now that is the finished article. So each yo-yo should be designed to have those 3 layers on each side. The third final layer, the outside layer, which you see on the outside edge of the yo-yo, is a 3 mil piece. Now this piece, and if you look at that example there, it's an example of Tinkerbell, will be added on after you have made the basic yo-yo. The basic yo-yo is going to be made up using just 2 layers on each side, like this example here pictured. Okay, so there's just 2 layers on each side to start with, and that final layer is added on afterwards. It's going to be actually stuck on the top. Now the reason that the final layer is added on after is because you'll notice in frame at the moment, you'll see that nut, which isn't very attractive. The Tinkerbell section there is then filled in with a coloured piece, which actually then hides the nut. Okay, which is why you must make the basic yo-yo with just 2 pieces each side first of all, and then factor in that final layer to cover over the nut, which brings you up to then your 9 mil thickness on each side. Okay, let's just look at the component parts separately, because you'll notice there's a metal centre. Okay, here we've got a yo-yo that's been taken apart, and you've got this metal centre that sits between our 2 halves. Okay, there's then a bolt that goes through one side. Okay, and you'll notice that that head of that bolt has been recessed. The bolt goes through the aluminium centre, and then the last piece is then bolted through on the other side. Okay, right, let's move across now and look at where you're going to start off with. Having done your designs, you will have decided upon the colours, the layered colours that you're going to use. Right, now this example chooses a clear layer and a yellow layer, and as we've previously said, there will be a 3rd layer, but you add that on afterwards. Okay. Now the examples that are stood up on edge here have been glued together already, and they've also been finished. And you'll notice when we look at the other ones that the edge isn't as shiny, and hopefully you can make out on these edges here that they've been finished absolutely perfect. Okay, the laser cut version, and these 2 here haven't yet been finished, have a slightly coarser edge to them, and that's something that you have to finish off using a centre lathe. Before you do that, however, those 2 pieces will need to be glued together. You need to look very carefully now as we explore the plastic layer that covers your piece of acrylic. Now that's sometimes very difficult to see, but if you glue your 2 pieces of plastic together without removing that, they will come apart. So you need to make sure that that piece of plastic protective layer has been removed from your piece of acrylic on both of the faces that you intend to glue together. All right. You also need to make sure when you're gluing them together that they stay in line with each other. We're going to be using a piece of wooden dowel for that, and we can take our 2 pieces, thread the piece of wooden dowel through our 4mm hole, okay, and touch the 2 faces together that you have taken the protective layer off. So you end up with then those 2 placed together. The glue we're going to be using is a polystyrene cement, and it works on dissolving the surface of the plastic and basically making those then 2 touching surfaces weld together. It's very important to heed the notice now in frame that says wear goggles. Okay, we've also taken the liberty of writing on the side of the can, use goggles every time, and I'm now going to photograph goggles to further reinforce the whole idea of goggles. Okay, now the glue is going to be applied using a brush. It's a very thin glue, which is why you need to wear goggles, because it will splash like water. The glue works on capillary action, so you're going to place the 2 pieces of acrylic that you have passed the dowel through into a vise, and you'll notice on this vise we have soft jawed it. We've covered over the metal jaws with 2 pieces of card in order that we don't scratch our piece of acrylic. So we clamp it together in the vise, and then the glue, using a brush, is painted along the edge. Now, you'll paint it along where the 2 pieces join, and the glue will then sink between those 2 layers and be drawn into and stick those 2 pieces together. So if you paint it on a couple of times along that edge, and then you can pause for a moment, turn the piece of acrylic and paint it on the other edges that you haven't seen yet. And again, feed in another dose. You'll need to do this on both sides of your acrylic yo-yo, but you need to make sure that you don't do it together, because you will end up then sticking 4 pieces together in a giant lump. Okay? Right, now the stage after that, we'll be taking those pieces and putting them in the centre lathe, and that's on the next video.